Today I'm going to talk to you about all the truths with serviced accommodation, also known as R2SA, Airbnb or rent to rent. My name is Deacon Hamid and I'm a property entrepreneur based in South London, and in the last 2 years I've been playing around with this strategy, and today I'm going to talk to you about all the good things and all the bad things. So let's start off with all the good things, and of course it has to be the fact that it's such a high cash flowing business. You've got increased income. This strategy allows you to double, in fact sometimes triple, their monthly revenue as opposed to a single standard net. This can be due to many factors such as seasonal demand or different events in your area and so much more. So this allows you to be able to go from being able to charge, let's say, around £1,000 a month to be able to earn around £3,000 a month revenue on just one single property. Number 2, regular cash flow. And what I mean by this is that you can get paid out on a weekly basis by your guests from the different platforms such as Airbnb, Booking.com or Virgo. Or sometimes you can get direct bookings when the guests even give you the money straight away before they've even visited the property. This allows you to maintain a healthy cash flow in the business, which allows you to be able to constantly be reinvested back into the business and expand at a fast pace. While I was executing this strategy, this was one of my most favorite things, is waking up on a Monday morning knowing that I'm about to get paid from the guests that stayed at my property the week before. And having this advantage allowed me to continuously reinvest back into the business and improve my services, and thus increasing the revenue of the property. And on the flip side, because there's so much high competition, it means that you have to maintain high standards if you want to make sure that you are making money in this market. Number 5, and this is probably one of my favorite things about it, is the fact that you are dealing with guests and not tenants, meaning they don't have as much rights as your normal guests would. So if you are having problems with guests, you don't have to go through the long eviction process. Yes, it may be more difficult to get the guests out of your property, however, you don't have to go through a long legal process that causes you to make more losses in the business. So in this case, as a landlord, you tend to be a bit more protected, and there are ways that you can mitigate having bad guests, such as taking ID verification and taking cash deposits in case they destroy or make any damages in your property. Now, before you kick off and run off to go and start your own Airbnb business, listen carefully for all the negatives about this strategy and why you should be aware. Number 1, the running costs are huge, which means there tends to be a big difference between your revenue and the profit that you actually take home. And this can be so easily interpreted by newbies coming to the space. Now remember, when I was talking about you being able to double or triple your revenue, you need to remember that before you even receive any of these funds, Airbnb and Booking.com and other platforms will deduct 15% of your monies before you've even received it. So come into this new space when you are doing your deal analysis, and let's say a deal sourcer sends you information and says you can make around £3,000 in revenue. Just remember, before you do anything, you need to deduct 15% of that due to the platform fees. And then you've got your other fees, such as maybe the rent that you might be paying to the landlord or your mortgage, and then you've got your cleaners that you need to be paying for, and maintenance costs such as changing sheets and buying new cleaning products for the property. So if you are thinking about coming to this space, you just need to make sure that you've done your numbers correctly and you've taken into account all the running costs involved. Because what situation you don't want to be in is that when you've got high revenue and high costs and you think you're making lots of money, but at the end of the month, when you've done all your accounts, you've actually made little to no profit. Or you've realized that the profit that you're making isn't equivalent to the amount of effort you're putting into that property. Number 2, cleaners are business critical, and this is probably my most frustrating thing about this strategy, is that you have little to no control over them, especially when you haven't developed a previous relationship with them or you're not using an established company. Cleaners can be very, very unreliable, because remember, at the end of the day, no one actually wants to be a cleaner forever. So you get the cleaners that come and do a good job for a couple months and decide to just leave the area, ghost you completely. And this has happened to me a couple of times where I have had to find replacement at the very last minute because I have guests coming in, or I've had to step in and do the clean myself, which is something that I didn't want to do. So the thing is about having an Airbnb business is that you need to make sure you've got a good relationship with your cleaner. And this can be very hard when you're starting out and you've never used a cleaner before. And even when you have a good cleaner, there tends to still be a high turnover of cleaners, which means that you never get the opportunity to build great relationships with cleaners. So this is probably my biggest disadvantage about this strategy, is that something that is so business critical and you have such little control over can be so disadvantageous to the business. Number 3, it is a service-based business. And what I mean by that is that every week you need to be monitoring the cleans, the standards, the reviews, and the customer's experience. So if you're stepping into this game thinking that you're looking for some passive income, well, it really doesn't work like that. And especially in the first year, it takes a lot of time and commitment to get this up and running and systemized to a standard where you're making significant income. To be able to maximize your profits, it takes more than just a channel manager and a VA. It requires you to be on the ground, to be doing inspections on your cleaners, to make sure that those standards are high, to be talking to your customers, talking to different companies and contractors to make sure that you're establishing these relationships so that moving forward, you'll get to consistent direct bookings. However, at the end of the day, everyone is different, and this part of the business could be something that draws you. But for me, as a property entrepreneur trying to leverage my time, it was a big no for me. And it took me a long time to be able to systemize everything to be completely hands-free. I've got to a point where now I've got good contracts with established companies in the local area. I now don't have to visit my properties as much because I've got long-term bookings. But as a newbie coming into this business, this does take time. And this is something that you definitely need to be aware of. And you don't want to put yourself in a position where you've just created a whole new job for yourself and you've still got a full-time job, and now you started this business and essentially you've just created another job for yourself. So that was a quick overview of the service accommodation model. Yes, it is great cash flowing. Yes, it has high revenue. However, it is very much time consuming. But for me, in my stage, in my career, in my journey right now, ownership is my top priority. So I'm focusing on acquiring more HMOs to generate cash flow and generate long-term generational wealth. So stay tuned for more updates, and remember to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.